All right, here we are. This is the Noir Hour, and I'm sitting here with Donald and Kelan of SubmerseD. So
Yep.
you guys say hello.
Hey, man. Thanks for having us.
Do what?
I said, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. This is awesome. Okay. So after all this time, SubmerseD is back together, and this is a huge deal for a ton of people. So, um, man, what have you guys been up to? What have you been up to since your hiatus?
Well, I'm not sure if there's a quick Cliff Notes version to that one.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while. It's been close to 15 years now since we've been active. And, I think more than anything, to kind of sum it all up, is we've all been on a journey of self. Some of us, E-Rock and, Garrett and some of these guys are still in the game very much so, very, very busy. And then others of us, have kind of tried to find our foundation. And it seems like, over the years we've been able to do that. And that's what's kind of brought us to, this resurrection, so to speak.
Yeah. So you guys are coming back together. Is it all original? Is it all the original guys in the band?
Well, right now it's a work in progress. We're trying to communicate with everybody. Some of us are local. We started this band in Dallas, Texas in 2001, late 2001.
Yeah.
And it was kind of our home base, but everything moved so fast that we ended up in Orlando really quick. So we didn't really have time to be a local band. And one of the ideas behind this resurrection was, to come back together locally and give ourselves an opportunity just to fellowship and play this music live again. We've got generations that grew up with this music and never got to see us perform. And so we want to be able to share that with everybody. And so that's one of those things where we're trying to figure out exactly who has the time to be involved, some of the different ways that we can accommodate everybody's schedule, but still stay active, and still be working as a band. And so we're still putting all that together. But our goal is that over time we'll be able to get everybody, the original lineup, in place and and kind of see where it goes from there.
Is there any members of the band that are in other bands, or y'all just kind of doing the family thing, or?
Yeah, well, I know me and Kellen, we've been locked down, with our families and building our families. And Josh Issam, who's going to come in to be a part of the resurrection. He was our original drummer in SubmerseD. He helped us build it locally. He did all the showcases with us. He helped us, he signed the record deal and moved to Florida. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And that's where Garrett came in. And so he's coming back. He's a local guy. And E-Rock is still playing with Tremonti, and, Garrett's playing with Wolfgang Van Halen. And so they have obligations. Yeah, in those worlds.
I follow Garrett with Wolfgang, and I was like, man, is that SubmerseD old drummer? And I couldn't really get a straight answer, like, just looking around, but I was like, surely that's him.
Yeah. So these guys are busy, and for Kellen and I, it was important just to, I guess the motto is the music's bigger than the people, and so at this point, in due time, we want to honor the songs. We want to kind of be servants to the music, and we're really hoping that eventually all the stars will align to where we can all come back together. But we're finding some really good people to help us facilitate this and be able to start playing some shows and really start the wheels of action to try to bring this all back around again.
Well, as time goes, Wolfgang, they'll go back to writing and recording, and Tremonti, he'll be off the road. And then that seems like kind of just like with Tremonti and Alter Bridge, they kind of find their groove when each other are free. So I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. It's one of those things where, we feel like eventually it'll work out the way it needs to, so.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Punisher soundtrack, because that's the first time that I heard you guys. And what was that, 2004? I think.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So I was about 14 years old. And man, and back then, 2004, there wasn't internet like there is now. So I was going to Walmart and, and finding like, cool soundtracks because I didn't want to buy a bunch of CDs at once. I wanted to buy one CD with all the good bands.
Right.
And that's how I found out about you guys. And I was like, whoa. And then, later in high school, I had come across In Due Time. And dude, that is that's in my top 20 favorite. Like that's a great album. I mean, everything on it is solid.
Well, thank you, man. It was all heart and soul. I mean, Complicated is a funny track because when E-Rock, first came into the band, we had just first met Mark Tremonti, and we were kind of congregating at his house and just, playing songs, playing ideas. And here comes E-Rock, this young prodigy out of California. And he had two ideas that he was kind of bringing to the table. And one was this demo called Broken Man, and the other one was this idea called Complicated. And so I remember me and him kind of going back in this corner of Mark's house when we start working on the song, and we take a break and we go put it on MTV. And there's this young pop punk sensation named Avril Lavigne who just came out, and she launched her debut single called Complicated.
Okay.
We were like, well, how is this going to work? Like, you know, like they're never going to take this serious, And so, but it's funny because it's one of those songs that a lot of people reference off that soundtrack. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that soundtrack was, it had to have gone platinum or something. I mean, it was a huge soundtrack there. I mean, I hear people talk about that all the time. And, Adam Ship was on there, and they're local on the Gulf Coast, they've been through a bunch of stuff, and I don't think they're going to really get back together again. But
well, I mean, they lost the drummer, and I believe it was a car accident or something back in the day, and he was incredible. He was literally, or maybe he was the guitar player. I can't remember. I think it might have been.
Yeah, it was a guitar player, and then the singer had passed away not too long ago. So
yeah, the singer Joey, me and him kept in touch over the years on Facebook, and unfortunately, I believe he took his life, and that's something that we all struggle with. Mental health is a big thing for me, and it's something that I've always tried to be open about. And those guys were artists. They were true artists.
Yeah, for sure. Well, man, mental health, it's pretty rampant. There's pretty rampant problems with musicians. I will say that. I mean, and even the local guys that I know, and even a lot of the bigger guys I know, that it's always issues. So
yeah,
it takes a lot out of you to do this stuff. And
yeah, no, it's heart and soul and sound and vibration and all that good stuff, and it affects you in a different way. But artists, I feel, also allow themselves to feel. We experience the wide range of emotions, and a lot of people either numb it out with something or just ignore it. And we tend to kind of lean into it a little more, and sometimes it's play with fire and you get burnt, and that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, it's tough feeling all those feelings and having to write them down and turn them into stuff. I get it. Well, man, once again, I'm glad to be talking to you guys. I want to talk to you about some past tours, man. Like, I know you went out with Alter Bridge, and maybe thought I saw Taproot. You've been on some big shows, some big tours. I mean, what were the best? What were the biggest ones? Your most favorite? Some road stories. You don't have to get too juicy or anything, but I mean, man, 2004, 2005, 2006. I mean, that was the heyday of rock, I think. I mean, that,
right.
Those bands that came around in that time, dude, they're people's favorite bands, Die Hard for sure.
Yeah, I think everybody has eras, and we're all at different ages. I know, I kind of grew up in the early 80s and 90s, and for me, it was Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and all these bands that it just seemed to like really come in and just mess everything, just kind of stir the pot. And,
yeah.
It did seem like we were coming along at a time where there was a transition. There were some bands that were kind of not necessarily on their way out, but they were kind of starting to cool off a little bit. And there was other new bands that were coming in, including Shinedown and, Alter Bridge has been able to sustain, success, and that's been awesome to see. And there's music's always changing, coming and going. And we're hoping that we still have a little place left.
Yeah. Well, man, you
I
could come
enjoyed.
back. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I enjoyed Alter Bridge. That was our first big tour. And that was exciting the whole time, And then we got to be part of a tour with Crossfade and got to see them blow up. This pretty much overnight. It was kind of an exciting time because that song, what was that song called?
Cold, so cold.
Was it So Cold?
Yeah. I think, but never meant to be so cold.
Yeah, incredible song. But CrossFit guys are a lot of fun too. They're a lot like we were, and we had a good time with them.
Yeah.
Jägermeister tour with the green man. What was he called? Lizard Man.
Lizard Man. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, Jägermeister tours are always fun and dangerous. Yeah, we toured a lot with Theory of a Dead Man, and those are actually a really group of good Canadians.
Yeah, they are.
That was a lot of fun, and I remember. We were out for a while, and Hinder was the opening band. And, they had that So Stone song, and I was like, dude, these guys are such jokers. Like, I just don't see anything going with this. And it just blew up. And then all of a sudden, we're opening up for them. We're like, what the hell is happening? But we always seemed to kind of be that band that was just flying just under the radar, but everything happens for a reason. And I just really feel that, when I started thinking about this and I felt like I had healed to the point to where I personally could entertain the idea of trying to do it again. I started going back and listening to the music, and I was listening to the lyrics and the messages in the songs and the energy in the music. And I just felt like the songs are more relevant now than they were even then. And it's the kind of music that people need to hear and the people need to experience. And that's really where the idea was like, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than Kelan. This is bigger than, Garrett, E-Rock, TJ. Like, we just need to find a way to bring this music back to life and just be the humble servants, to that healing energy,
Yeah. Well, the songs are incredible, man. I mean, like You Run and Dripping, man, those songs were some of my favorites, And those songs, they can cater to so many different things. And
right.
That whole album really got me through a hell of a mess. Like you always have those songs and stuff like that. And I really dig that album.
That's another reason. I just, even with some of my previous bands that I did, after SubmerseD, everybody would always talk about SubmerseD. And there's so many stories about, how the song, a particular song or the music in general help people through situations. And it just really, always keeps you focused on what really matters. And that's, once again, just being a servant of sound and trying to put something out there into the universe and out there into the world that's going to help people and connect with people. And through that, you help yourself, because I know me personally, I need a lot of help. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand. I do too.
Yeah.
We all do.
Constantly trying to answer questions. I'm constantly trying to find solutions to problems, and for me, the one thing that just makes that the easiest sense, the most sense to me is music. It's just the thing that's come most natural. And when I don't have it in my life, I don't feel right, and I know that's the way Kelan feels. And, we created something special that in a lot of ways feels undone. It feels left undone. And, I'm hoping that this is really where it all kind of starts to begin again.
I think it will. Have y'all been jamming any? I mean, I saw Kelan with an acoustic. I mean, y'all been jamming just.
Yeah, we're playing right now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I dropped you there. We've actually I stopped the jam because I was like, we got to go talk to this guy, and make sure that I don't forget about this, because we started vibing out a little bit, there's just, I don't know, man. I feel like whenever you do things within like God's plan, within like your planned purpose of your life, it's as easy as breathing, and so it's funny to come back to some of these songs, and we're in here rehearsing in the living room, and it just feels natural. It's like riding a bike, so we're trying to get some stuff together to start playing some little acoustic shows and really kind of celebrate with our local community. We had a lot of people that supported us early. We had a lot of people that supported us all through it from a distance. And in a lot of ways, for lack of a better way to put it, we kind of forgot where we came from.
Yeah.
And so to be back where it all started, to be coming back together, we just want to kind of start it in an intimate manner, So we're going to do some acoustic sets, and then we're going to get a good rehearsal spot and start putting a band together and getting back out there and turning it up,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's really cool. I know there's a ton of people that are super excited about this.
That's awesome.
Y'all just been going through the old stuff, and I mean, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
right
play,
now.
you could play right time from front to back, and just.
Yeah. I mean, you could get creative with it, especially with the fact that we're going to have some moving parts and guys are going to be coming and going, and there may be like an original lineup show that you don't want to miss, or a anniversary show for any time where we play the whole album from front to back and have special copies and do autograph signings. You could get creative and have all sorts of fun with it. I mean, for us right now, it's just about coming back and sharing in fellowship, within the music, and then seeing where it takes us from there. The first order of business was reaching out to everybody and saying, hey, this is where we're at. This is how we feel. This is what we want to do. Where are you at? How do you feel about it? Do you have the time? And some folks may need a little more healing, and that's okay, but we're going to fire it up and we're going to keep the porch light on for you. And when you're ready, the door's open, so, it's just one of those things. Like I said, it's all about serving the music,
Absolutely. Well, so you guys were on Wind Up, right? Were y'all on Wind Up?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure. I know that the Punisher soundtrack was on Wind Up, so I just figured, they grabbed a bunch of their bands from there. Man, what was it like, because I don't personally see that it's even important to be signed anymore. Not with the way the world is now in terms of the business.
Right.
It doesn't seem as important as it, that used to be the only way in back in the day, but now it's almost irrelevant in a way.
Yeah, I mean, to each his own. It really depends on your personal skill set. I know for me, I'm not one of those people that likes to manage myself or promote myself or, do all that kind of book myself. And so to be able to put a team together that can help you promote your music and do all that so that you can just focus on the art, I think that's, where certain label structures can come in handy, or certain management structures can come in handy, because they, if you trust them and they do a good job, that's something that can take a lot of that stress and pressure off of you and allow you to focus on the art form. And that's really what that was for us. The good thing for us is that we had so many deep relationships at that label that we always felt like we were being taken care of. Now, there was some internal stuff that went on that was really out of our control, and I felt like in a lot of ways we kind of became collateral damage in a lot of that. But that's just kind of the nature of business, so it was what it was for our story, and I think we learned a lot from it. So the good and the bad, I think we're all better for it, and that probably will dictate how we handle things, moving forward with all of this, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. So as far as we know now, SubmerseD is getting back together. We're jamming. We're doing. Trying to get in touch with all the guys. I mean, I know a lot of time has passed, but in the meantime, we're just seeing where this goes, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm a little hesitant saying we're getting back together, because there's going to be different moving parts, and
Right.
We're going to kind of find our way through this. But we're definitely resurrecting the band, and we're resurrecting the music, and we're bringing it back to life, and we're extending the invitation, and we're opening the door, and all these good things that are forward progress. And so that's been really positive. I think anybody that lives long enough to create regret in their life, to have a chance at redemption, or have a chance to go back and not really make things right, but make things new.
Yeah.
I think it's priceless. I think anybody that really thinks about that and understands a particular situation in their life that might fall in that category can absolutely understand how important and how healing that can be, to be at a point to where you can really let the past go and focus on the future, and it's like I was telling Kelan the other day, for the first time in a long time, rather than focusing on all the mistakes of the past, I've really just been hopeful for the future, you know, and what is to come for Submersed, and that's a really good place to be, you know.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, it starts with you. It starts with you guys. And
Unbelievable. That's a great statement.
I'm excited to see what the future holds. I mean, I saw you guys post, I guess, the other day about your Spotify numbers, and I mean, man, people still listen.
Yeah.
People
wasn't that crazy? Boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm one of those people, So
yeah. Well, it's one of those things. I don't know if I already mentioned it. This may be a little redundant, but I started meeting folks that were, grew up on our music that never had a chance to see us. Like we've been so far behind now that, there's this generation of folks out there that feel connected to it for one way or another. And, if it's, just firing it back up so that they can come to the show with their brother or sister or their mother or father or whoever they got into the music with and share in that moment and sharing that energy and sharing that love. Like then we're doing our part, to try to make this world a better place. And, I've always been corny in that sense that I've always felt like that's the reason music was here, was to bring us together. And so this band in particular, that was just part of that energy. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have written great songs that have touched thousands of people. So I say it's a good idea, and I'm really happy about it, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Last week on my show, I played "Dripping," and I'll be playing something after this interview. But
yeah, well, what's really cool is that a little backstory in the song "Dripping." Kelan back here behind me and our original drummer Josh, they had a big part in developing like the original sound of Submersed. And the drummer Josh actually wrote that guitar riff for "Dripping." And it's one of those things where he's a multi-instrumentalist, and he was fiddling around with that riff, and it just really kind of took off from there. And so, there's a little bit of back history to this band that people aren't familiar with, and so just to be able to get out and share that and kind of clue everybody in is going to be fun as well.
Well, I'm a drummer as well, so when I get a riff that's good, I'm sure he was pretty stoked about it because we don't get any of those.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the thing, if it's one of those situations where Garrett comes in and he's available to play with this and Josh is there, hey, Josh, come in and play a little guitar on "Dripping," and we can just kind of, like I said, it's a group fellowship. It's a chance to come back together and heal through song and, heal on stage, this place that brought us all together to begin with. And, some people need more time than others, and we're okay with that. But, we're ready to be able to feel that again and to share it with everybody else. So.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, man, I won't keep y'all too much longer, but man, it was awesome to get to talk to you guys, and I'll keep in touch.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to sign us off here. This has been the Noir Hour. This is Donald and Kelan with Submersed. And this is me being super excited about this one, man. So y'all take it easy. We'll talk again.
All right, brother. Have a great one, and thanks for having us on.
Absolutely, man. Y'all take care.
You too.
All right.